Nothing made James Cagney hate him more than that. Born James Francis Cagney Jr. on July 17, 1899, in the tough working-class neighborhood of Lower East Side Manhattan, New York City, James Cagney grew up in a place that was full of immigrant families and a lot of cultural and economic struggle. His father, James Francis Cagney Sr., was fully Irish and worked many low-paying jobs to make ends meet. He was a barman and briefly tried to make it as an amateur boxer, which made him physically tough and instilled in his family an unspoken code of toughness. His mother, Carolyn Elizabeth Nelson, was part Norwegian and part Irish, giving her a more varied European background. She was known as a strong and stable family figure. Even though the family was having money problems, she often made sure her kids were taken care of. The mix of Irish charm and Scandinavian discipline in his family may have helped Cagney develop the unique charisma and work ethic that you could see in his movie roles. Growing up in a noisy and crowded city as the second of 7 children, James was used to being close to everyone. The Cagney family did not have a lot of money, and the kids were expected to help out in any way they could. Even with these problems, Cagney did very well in school and got into Stuyvesant High School, which is known for being one of the best public schools in New York City and is known for being very strict with its students. He finished in 1918, near the end of World War I. For young Americans at the time, this was a time of both hope and doubt. Cagney wanted to keep learning, so he went to Columbia College at Columbia University for a short time. This is an impressive accomplishment considering that he came from a working-class background. But his plans changed quickly when his father died. The family's loss was not only very hard on them mentally, but it also cost them a lot of money. Because of the tragedy, Cagney had to quit college and get a job to support his family. His sense of duty and obligation stayed with him his whole life. Cagney almost didn't mean to get into show business. Harry Cagney, his older brother, had a part in a play put on by Florence James, and young James worked as a scenery boy backstage. When Harry got sick, Cagney stepped in and jumped at the chance with a lot of confidence and energy. He was not only able to remember the lines well, but he also had a natural talent for performing. That early spot-in set off a spark in Cagney that would lead to a famous career in films and plays. In 1919, Cagney tried out for the wartime musical revue Every Sailor because he wanted to make a living on stage. The part required a chorus girl, which is a strange role for a guy to try out for. However, Cagney had only done the Peabody, a popular fast-paced ballroom dance. He showed the Peabody steps with charm and improvisation, and the producers were convinced of his stage promise. It was an early sign of how brave, flexible, and good at winning people over he was. Cagney got his big break in 1925 when he was cast in Maxwell Anderson's tough 3-act play Outside Looking In. Before that, he had played small parts and done stage work for years. He played a young tough guy, which kind of role he would become famous for. Cagney made $200 a week for his work, which was a lot of money at the time. More importantly, it showed how well he could play tough, emotionally complicated characters with depth and subtlety. As his fame grew, Cagney's creativity went beyond playing. He started a dance school for professionals where prospective dancers could learn. He became known as a choreographer and teacher who was ahead of his time. People were interested in his unique way of teaching, which led to an offer to choreograph and act in the satirical musical revues Grand Street Follies of 1928 and 1929. These shows, which were known for being witty and making social comments, gave Cagney a chance to show off his singing, dancing, and comedic skills on stage and helped him become more well-known. It was a big deal when James Cagney first appeared in films in 1931. It was planned for him to play Matt Doyle in the gangster movie The Public Enemy, opposite Edward Woods, who was going to play the lead part of Tom Powers. But after seeing early footage, the producers saw how captivating Cagney was on screen and decided to cast him as the fiery Tom Powers. The movie's success made Cagney a star and cemented his reputation as Hollywood's most interesting and realistic bad guy. In the same year, Cagney worked with another up-and-coming actor, Edward G. Robinson, in the crime movie Smart Money, which showed off even more of his skills and range. Cagney started to do other things, though, as Hollywood got used to the Motion Picture Production Code of 1930, which was made stricter by 1934 and was meant to limit violence and sexuality in films. He didn't have to play gangsters all the time. The comedy Blonde Crazy showed his lighter side. In the thriller Taxi, which came out in 1932, Cagney played a savage cab driver. He agreed to work for Warner Brothers for $1,000 a week, which put him in the top earners in Hollywood. It was also a big moment in Cagney's work with Taxi. His musical background was shown when he danced on TV for the first time. It was also the last time he would let live ammo be used in a shootout scene after almost getting hurt, which shows how powerful he is becoming in the business. In the 1938 crime drama Angels with Dirty Faces, Cagney played Rocky Sullivan, which was a major part. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for his complex role as a gangster who was about to be put to death. The role also won him the New York Film Critics Circle Award for Best Actor, adding to his status as one of the best actors of his time. In 1942, he played singer George M. Cohan in the musical biopic Yankee Doodle Dandy, which won him the most praise. The film got 8 nominations and won 3 Oscars, and Cagney won the Oscar for Best Actor for his energetic and emotional performance that captured the spirit of American strength. Not only was it a personal success, but it was also a very important movie in the early years of Wit 2. Cagney also tried his hand at Shakespearean roles, with his only classical part being in A Midsummer Night's Dream. This shows how versatile he was as an actor and how willing he was to try new things. By the end of the 1930s, he had been making movies for 10 years, and the last one was the crime movie set during the Great Depression called The Roaring Twenties. In 1942, he took more control of his business by starting Cagney Productions. This showed that he was independent during a time when studios were the norm. In the same year, he was also chosen president of the Screen Actors Guild, which shows how well he can lead and how much he wants to make working conditions better for actors. Johnny Come Lately, Cagney product. Ion's first movie came out in 1943. It was a touching drama that gave him a different kind of part. He learned karate to do his own stunts for the movie Blood on the Sun, which was a big deal for an... Even with all the work that went into it, the movie didn't do well at the box office, and Cagney Productions soon had money problems. In order to avoid more losses, Cagney made a deal to merge Cagney Productions with Warner Brothers, which put him back in a more stable company relationship. In 1949, he gave one of his most famous performances as Cody Jarrett, a cruel and crazy criminal in White Heat. His scary scream made it ma. Top of the World became one of the most famous lines in movie history, and many people think it was the best part of his work. In the middle of the 1950s, Cagney took on a new role in the 1955 MGM Western tribute to a bad man. Even though it wasn't his usual gangster part, he got praise for how deep and serious he was in it. Later, he appeared with Barbara Stanwyck in These Wilder Years, which showed that he could keep acting for a long time and in different styles. After a long break, Cagney came back to films in 1981 with a small but moving part as a crooked police commissioner in Milos Forman's Ragtime. After 3 years, he made his last movie role in the 1984 TV movie Terrible Joe Moran, a quiet ending to a long and successful career that spanned more than 50 years. In the early 1920s, James Cagney had an accident while trying out for a comedy show called Pitter Patter. This accident changed his life in a way that would affect his personal life for decades to come. He met a young chorus dancer named Frances Willard Vernon during the tryout process. Frances, who was only 16 years old at the time, had a graceful beauty and quiet power that caught Cagney's attention right away. The two quickly became close, even though they were very different in age and the fast-paced world of show business. It turned out that they both had beliefs based on discipline, family, and hard work. These were traits that were uncommon and highly valued. In the unstable world of entertainment, behind the scenes, away from the cameras, their relationship grew, based on mutual respect and a sense of how humble one should be. James married Frances, whom he affectionately called Billy, in 1922. It was the start of one of the longest and most stable marriages in Hollywood history. While many of their peers' relationships were dominated by fame, controversy, or personal excess, the Cagneys lived a more private and stable life. Before James Cagney's death in 1986, they were married for almost 65 years. They were admired in both personal and professional circles as a rare example of long-lasting love in the entertainment business. James and Frances really wanted to start a family together, even though they couldn't have actual children of their own. After much thought, they decided to adopt. This showed how much they wanted to start a family and how responsible they felt. James Cagney Jr. was the name of their first child, a son. It wasn't easy to grow up in the shadow of a Hollywood celebrity, but James Jr. followed his own path with his father's quiet support and help. Later, they adopted a girl and named her Kathleen Cagney, but they loved calling her Casey. The Cagneys raised both of their children away from the fame and spotlight on their farm in Martha's Vineyard. James found peace there, away from the chaos of fame, and Frances worked on making the family life warm and stable. Even though it was hard to raise a family while being watched by the public, James and Frances stayed devoted parents. In their home, they taught their kids about culture, morals, and keeping things simple. People often thought of Cagney as a tough-talking gangster in films, but he was really a devoted family man who loved quiet nights with his wife and kids more than any Hollywood party or star gala. Relationships with people, especially Frances, were very important to him emotionally. Her constant support helped him get through the ups and downs of his long and successful career. Even though he seemed friendly in public,